The 13th floor. The 13th floor.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing. I am moderator B Jones, and I got some of the extra guys on today. Been a long time. Mr. Faison, what's going on?
What's up, y'all? What's going on, everybody? Yeah, life's good. Life is good.
With the Super Bowl hat on, bragging.
No, the light. It's the light. I gotta have light on, but it hurts the eyes. So.
Oh yeah. All
right. I need a haircut too. So. Bad.
Haircut, doing bad. Filthy animal.
Wednesday.
Lift it up, man.
Wednesday.
DJ, what's happening, brother?
All good, baby.
What's the flavor of the week this week, man?
Say what again?
What's the flavor of the week this week?
I'm home, baby. Like, you don't see the great background behind me? I'm home. I don't got the hotel. I'm
good. Excited. There it is.
I'm this is the first week, I think, since the school year started that I haven't traveled one day overnight.
Okay. Enjoying that good family time? Cooking dinner this evening?
Yep. We're doing science in the middle of science fair season.
Already?
Yeah, they do parts of it. It's due mid-November, so they got the experiments going on now with collecting data and doing that stuff.
Wow, pop off early.
So, right.
Out the gate. Remember, I got 3 going at one time, so.
Yeah, you working.
Yeah.
It's going on all the way live.
They don't do no simple stuff. I refuse to do that basic.
Ain't no volcanoes going on, man. Come on, bro.
Bad boy fresh, man. We heard you. What's going on?
Man, we out here. You know how it goes. See, I'm in the bat layer. You know.
Yeah, man. When's your movie come out, bro?
Man, I can't give an exact drop date. You know, we're doing a lot of refinement. We had to work with a couple new directors, but everything is, still underway. We looking good. Movie stay shot.
Come on, man. I'm about to say, man, you totally botched that. You supposed to say every day is a movie.
That would have been more fresh light. But, we got to ease on back into this thing. We can catch up to full speed in a minute. Coach K, what's going on, man?
I'm in here. I'm here. Everybody else said, we out here. I'm in here.
Don't be in, man. You know what I'm saying? I know you got your CarMax Max on and everything, but
Well, you know how it is, man. Just running from one thing to the next. So I didn't have time. I don't like to get on here and give them free advertising.
No, but your shirt games be pretty on point now. So,
t-shirts. I got to figure out a couple different things to do. The life of a GM. You just can't show up and just regular stuff.
Y'all hear that, right? How you just tossed that out there like all nice and silent. The life of a GM. We do things.
Little drop.
Faison knows what I'm talking about, man. You just can't, especially when you're my color, you can't look like everybody else.
Exactly. What you can do, though, is you cannot shave and use that as much as you want. That rule applies.
I'm working, man. Man, it's almost November, and I'm ready.
No. I'm saying you could definitely use it. Oh, I can't shave. I get bumps. You can use that to your advantage.
Oh, I did a long time ago. Use that back
they got so many different kits out
and
now.
It hasn't been a problem since.
They got so many different kits out now that's supposed to help with that. I saw a commercial the other day. I think it was a new Gillette razor or something. They got the Blood Man on there they got some new smooth rubber piece around it or whatever.
It's hilarious. They never get it right though.
What you mean?
Always talk about, this new razor and doesn't give you any razor burn, and it's gentle on your skin. Hello, newsflash, razor people, it's not our skin that's the problem.
Right?
That's so cold-blooded, right? And that is exactly what they try to make it out to be, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's these 4 and 5 razors they trying to throw up in
problem.
this thing. Yeah, 4 and 5 razors and everything. Crazy. Glad I don't have those problems. But I have seen my boss actually shaves every day, no razor bumps. And I don't know how he does it, but he gets away
I think if you shave consistently like that over time you adjust, and your body adjusts, your hair adjusts to that process.
I think
for
it has
but
a lot to do with your skin because I've never had a razor bump issue in my life.
this is also, Ian. Let's talk about the grade of hair you have. It's different.
Well,
all
to
about
both of
the-
those things, I definitely agree. Play a huge like if you definitely when you
Mhm.
have those
the tighter
needles,
the curl,
exactly those
the harder
straight
the curl, the harder
curls
the
back
curl,
into your
yeah.
face and it's just like clenching your cheek.
Mhm.
Yeah, I get it.
Sometimes it's not even that though. Like sometimes if I cut a piece of my hair, the remaining piece is so sharp. I've literally been shaving and had a piece of hair stuck in my knuckle.
I've done that.
Yeah,
I've
no.
done that. I've done that. I actually had one that I think one of the last times I got my beard trimmed up and like my mustache, when the barber did it, one of the hairs fell out and like literally
Stabbed you?
stabbed in my lip. And I could feel it like I was like there's something numb going on. What is this? And yeah, it was actually a hair. So I definitely have had that.
Yeah, facts.
So, question: is the urban legend about the shaving more like even if you don't have any hair? Like, did that actually work for you guys to like get you to grow your full beards in, or were y'all just blessed genetically?
Definitely not blessed genetically. This was a lot of growing ugly, shaving off, getting some, nice adapted pieces that it was, first it was a nice mustache and it turned to a nice goatee with a little something. And then, the goatee was all types of different ways. And then slowly but surely, started going down on these guys.
The gloriousness just exudes.
Wow.
FT,
Back.
all over across the river.
I would say mine is partially genetics because I've had a beard. Shoot, I
He's
remember
like
when,
Morgan Freeman.
I remember
Like,
winning.
just had that old face forever.
I remember winning a contest at GameWorks when Art worked at GameWorks, and they had a beard contest, and I won because I had the fullest beard. That's a long time ago.
Wow.
I forgot about him working there. Good Lord.
I put it to you this way. I remember when NBA 2K came out, Ian had it.
2000?
Was it 2000? Yep.
Yes.
And
Yes, the literal first drop.
And when I designed my character, he had a beard because I had a beard.
Jesus. Wow. That's saying a lot. That's a great way to put it in perspective too, by the way.
Yep.
Somebody weren't even born back. Good Lord. Okay, let's keep moving.
Oh man, so I want to start with the weekend, fellas. I know we got some proud parents. She's not on the podcast right now, but Gina, shout out to Gina. But you had who's playing football? Is it Mason?
It's Cameron playing.
Cameron.
Cam playing football.
How'd he do this weekend, man?
So the team won. The team won again. And everything. He had a couple plays in the game, but it was like the last play of the game. They were up, but still the other team had the ball. Went for a pass down the field. He had the interception and ran it back about half field. One more should tackle it. Should pull. He would have went all the way. But Prime Mama. As soon as he got the ball, you can't want to hear anything else on the video. It's just like, yeah. I mean, like if she could probably.
I'm gonna drop it right here, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and listen.
Yeah, just
Man,
play
yes, please drop it right here because I also feel like that was probably the same noise that happened when he was conceived.
100%. Yeah, baby, that's my baby. Yeah, baby.
I can either confirm or deny. Statement on the table.
Yes.
I get myself in trouble.
Yes.
You gotta get me in trouble.
Oh man, sounds like it was a great weekend all around.
Well, here's the thing. He don't watch the podcast, so I'm saying I'm good.
There it is.
Who was that? Who was that? Come on in.
Maybe that's
Mic drop. Mic drop.
Hey, so is he is he actually into the game though? Like he's
getting there, yeah. So we're talking about more about what he want to do. We talk some more the weekend after that game, really, because because right now they're just trying to get used to the game, get all the positions. They rotate everybody in. You play offense and you play defense. But again, what they watch on the pros and on college is not how they can play on the field. So it's about getting that mindset about, because they got a couple of charging calls on them because they want to rush as soon as like seriously, you got a couple calls like yellow flag. I'm like, come on, coach, I'm a ref, but whatever. They're learning the basics of the game, so they're all good.
This is his first year?
They both played when they were younger, he was probably about 5 and Mason about 7. So it's been a good 5-6 years since they played. But he really wants to get into it, so we're talking about it and different options out there.
So in this time frame, what measurable growth have you seen in him, Cameron?
The basic thing is just focus as far as what the coach, because they got volunteer coaches, but the guy who's coaching the team right now, Coach Rowe, he coaches Optimus down here in Florida. So he has the fundamentals, the background, and is working with them side by side like me. Like I can go and shoot something, but I can't even act right now because of technical things. Like my shoulder is so messed up, I can't throw a football right now. Like, I don't really go in details. Y'all probably didn't even know it, but like my shoulder is so messed up right now. Like I can barely do anything major besides a handoff, whatever. That's something I'm working on, but I can't work with him one-on-one. So we're trying to get him in a position where those other people that can't work with him and get him on teams and the fundamentals down, like, and possibly even putting him back in for this session and the winter session of flag football, so he gets more reps in there, gets more practice, and get under the belt. So as we move into spring and summer and next year and going to next year, we can talk about putting on the pads or not.
Okay. Now, would you say Cameron is like really like hard on himself on the field? Like, is he really like competitive? Or is he like really patient with himself and just like, I'm gonna learn it and I'm gonna grow into it and I'm gonna get there, when I get there?
It's a mix. It depends on. I think he's like his dad. He tries to carry. He's upset about he let his team down if something goes. It's not really a personal thing, but he takes it more on. I let the team down. Or I didn't make this play for the team. So it's more that burden and not really a skill deficit that he sees right now. I believe. It's more of like, I didn't perform for the team, so that way we had to turn over the ball, or I dropped that pass, so now it's 4th down and we gotta go for it or not, like whatever. So,
and the reason I ask is because and I'm just trying to kind of gauge like generational differences at this point, because I had a conversation maybe last week sometime. And it centered around patience. And the phrase, patience is a virtue kind of came up. But it was targeted at my age group and younger. And basically that we are very impatient individuals for, just long story short, we're just very impatient individuals. We want what we want, whether it be in life, in the workplace, and we're very hastily trying to get there and quite possibly making a lot of mistakes or putting more on ourselves than we can actually handle when it comes to certain situations. And, falling in that generation, I feel a couple of different ways about it, because I do think that there is a haste or intent behind how we move and getting to the things that we want to achieve in life or in our workplace or whatever our hearts may desire. But I see that it's commonly misconstrued by the older generation, and sometimes there's a disconnect. And I think we may have spoken on that before. And if we can fix it, between us, then there's quite possibly a greater chance that we'll be able to make that connection through our, with our younger generation that comes behind us. I think it's a little unfair to kind of peg a teenager or a child as impatient, because they have to grow into that a little bit. They have to develop that. But when you get into, your younger adult years and you have to start making these decisions, maybe patience, would be a better virtue to have instead of being gung-ho. So I just kind of throw that out there to get, what you guys kind of think about it and what you kind of have experienced in your realm.
Anybody want to jump in there?
Yeah, we're going to be patient and wait for Art to come back and answer that.
Yeah, because he made it. He made the camera off.
Man, you know, I usually try to go after everybody else, but I'll go ahead and go. So what I would say is that I don't think your generation has an issue. People say you guys want immediate gratification, and I don't think that's what it is. And really, I don't think it's something that the older generation should shy away from either. There is a difference between being quick to know what you want and then being patient to get it, as opposed to you're just impatient and you want results now. No, I think what it is that your generation, and I put up quotation marks, everybody, you guys decide really quickly what your goals are and what you're here for, right? The part that the older generation sees is they think because you guys are so quick to figure out what you want and what you want to do that you lack patience. And that's really not it. It's that whole patience is a virtue, or if you take it to a religious standpoint, well, you know, if it's for you, God willing, you'll have it. You know, that type of mentality makes us hesitate, and we wait and we wait and we wait. And I think we've gotten to a point where we've evolved to, no, I'm going to decide what I want and then work for it. And in deciding what you want quickly, as I said, the patience part now comes in. Once you've decided, it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get that right away. And I think it doesn't matter what generation you are. There are people that once they decide what they want it now. And that's the part where things may not happen for you the way you think. And you've got to be patient and wait for things to evolve and put in the work that will get you there. But I think right now, the older generation just looks at you guys and just like, oh man, these millennials, they just want immediate gratification. No, they decide very quickly what they want. They don't wait for anybody to give it to them, to tell them this is what you should do. They move, and then that's it. The things happen after that. Nobody sticks around to watch and see what you guys are going to do.
I think part of it, I totally agree with you, but I think part of that too is the older generation, because of the consequences that came along with making some of those decisions, they were very slow in making action and taking action toward that. Now, it's less consequences associated with things today, and I say that meaning that it's a lot easier resource-wise when you're talking about either finances in a general aspect. Time is always a commodity we can't really afford to get rid of, but information is out there. Information to make those decisions quicker. People to look back, and there's a historical database now of things that have gone a certain way, that when you look at things and make a decision, you can kind of gauge, I think it's going to go this way, or sometimes I don't care. Back before, it was really either the consequence I make is going to be so detrimental that I need to be very, very particular about making that. So in that case, patience come in is just really, in my opinion, a delayed decision. Yeah, I totally agree. It's not really about the patience of getting it. It's about the decision of going after it or not going after it, and being willing to accept the consequences no matter what. Because I think that's the thing about today's generation. A lot of, even though there's some drawback, is like fearlessness is one of the things that come to mind when I think about it, because they're not scared to lose the money. They're not scared to lose the job, right? But older generation, that was the major factors in their decision making, is prolonged it. I
think you hit the nail on the head right there, is that a lot of the older generation is it's the all right, I'm not sure what I just watched, but they pretty much had a guy who was talking about, you know, it took forever for somebody to break. I think it was like the mile being ran in under, I think it was 20 minutes or something like that, crazy, whatever it was. But pretty much a number that now is like, who took that long to run a mile, right? And up until that point, it was always impossible until somebody finally broke, and then it was like everybody was doing it and it was no issue, right? It's the same thing that a lot of the older generation has. And I actually see it like with my mom, where, you know, there becomes a cap of the feeling like you can't, like, no, you need to put time into anything, and their impatience belief is more on the barrier, the like bar of where they believe that somebody can reach. It's no different with somebody saying you can't do whatever that dream or desire is that you have. It's kind of just their lack of believing it's possible in the time that the younger generation wants to achieve, right? Because the younger generation doesn't see like the need and necessity to say, hey, well, I can't do that until I'm there for 10 years. It's like, no, I understand how to do it, and I actually do it better, could do it better than the person who's been there for 20 years. So why would I wait, to go ahead and start making change right now? And I think that's really where the gap is that they misjudge the desire to impact right now of the younger generation with impatience.
And, a lot of that is built through their experiences, just in being in business
Of
or just
course.
throughout life. So when you can't move in that type of way, or you can't really, like, you have to work hard and it took a long time versus someone who may have studied some industry or just has a better understanding of how it works and how to add certain efficiencies or whatever. There becomes a certain level of intent that you move with, especially when you have the information backing you. So you know exactly what you want. You know exactly how to, or you think you know exactly how to get there. There may be some things that you can learn along the way, especially when it comes to, a mentor's guidance and experience to pass on to you so you don't fall for some of those pitfalls. But I think that the intention, or just being intentional about what you want and where you want to go is really what drives that.
You're right. And here's the thing again, man, in the old days, man, people believe, man, you had one shot.
Right.
And really you only had one shot because the time it took you to gather the information to even take that chance was so long that you weren't going to have time to reinvent and research all over again and get in position. Nowadays, things have changed. You can be intentional. You go out there, you get the information, you try, you fail. Okay, well, we learn and let's keep on moving. You get information so much quicker and you have access to so many more people that it's not a one-shot deal now. You might have 6 shots now. Who knows? It's all depending on how much work you're willing to put in. And that's why I say I don't see anything wrong with being able to decide what your purpose is or what you want to do or what you want to give to the world quickly, because look, if it doesn't work, you can regroup.
Things change every day. I think, being flexible and malleable in that sense of, knowing that you have to adjust, along the way, adjust with the times. It's important that you have to have that.
Well, I think it was also in a sense, though, they didn't have the opportunity to do that, right? Like it was more based on, hey, you're going here either money based or just because this was the opportunity that was afforded to you, right? Like they didn't have the same visibility and insight into making a pivot. Like if you really think about the older generation and what they consider careers, because what they taught us was, hey man, you go to school, go to more school, get a career, and you're there forever. You're not really going to change that thing. That is going to be what happens. And that isn't the case. And it's that the younger generation sees and understands, it's okay to make that pivot. It's okay to fail forward. It's okay to try something and be like, you know what, I don't want to buy it.
Because a lot of that is we go back, and I swear we talked about it a long time ago. I don't remember what episode, have no idea, but that fear factor, right? So it comes down to like you want to protect. We put it in the kids a more day-to-day, but your kids, you want to protect their decisions and kind of guide them and mold them in the right way. Because most parents are fearful that their kids are going to make the wrong decisions or make a decision that's going to be detrimental to them. Well, that whole thing, go to school, go get a career, and work that career till you're dead or till you're ready to retire, dead in some cases, was the idea, because that's what our parents had to do. And the idea of going out and after a year, but like, I'm ready to go for promotion. They're like, well, hold up. I don't know if you guys ever experienced it. They're like, what do you mean go for the promotion? Like, you've only been in, like, you haven't gotten experience. I saw everybody who didn't do it right, and I know what decision I need to make. And I think it's even more so with your generation. Well, I say the younger generation, because I look at my kids now and some of the things we have a conversation all the time. Are we really putting up roadblocks for them instead of letting them go and be the problem solvers and failing forward, like you said? And I had to take a step back sometimes and like, look, there was a couple of decisions academically that I needed to make the end of last year when some things happened. But you know what? I let them learn the lesson for themselves. And it was hard for me being in academics myself. But I don't want to go specifically to put the business out there, but like I was very upset with how they ended the year because they took their foot off the gas. And it's not because of potential, it was just because they got lazy. And after you talk to them, but at the same time, they have to make that decision because daddy's not gonna be here forever, right?
Hey, best lessons are learned, not taught.
Right. So we could talk at people all day, and I think that's what we talk about generation to generation. But I think what the younger generation is teaching the world is that all these everything we talk about resources except time. Time is about the only thing that's against us right now. No matter what you do, day by day, minute by minute, it's ticking away. We never know how long that period is going to be. But all the other resources out there that everybody has at their fingertips, they're not scared to use them. They're not scared to go out there and question why and what and how, right? And when they do that, they get the answer they want. If they don't like it, they'll make their own answers and forge forward. So that's what I love about it, because they that sense of I'm not scared, but we have to do our due diligence and not to making them scared or kind of helping them put blinders on their eyes before they have a chance to see it for themselves.
Big facts.
Yeah, and I think there's one other component to this is that for the older generation, so those before the rest of us that aren't millennials, there was always a pressure of whether it be your race or your gender, right? Of, well, if you mess up, then you may mess it up for everybody else. So take your time, do it right. Whereas at this point, it's like, look, man, run your race. You know what I'm saying? You're not big enough to mess up your race. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you got to remove that pressure of that's not where we're at anymore. We've evolved from that to a degree. I know there's some issues out there, but you can't put that pressure on them now that if you fail, you've messed it up for everybody else that looks like you.
And I want to go back to something you said earlier, Carol, because I think it's very important and it kind of can get glossed over. And when you put up the quotations for generational, excuse me, and you were talking about how the younger generation, quote unquote, knows what they want, acts and, with intent and, maybe seem hasty or whatnot, but it doesn't necessarily have to just be the younger generation who knows these things. I feel like all generations have that within them and they know that. They just have to, I guess, have maybe a little bit more push or, need a little to move it a little bit more fervor in order to get it out there. Because like, as you said, it's your race. So you can get out there and run your race and you can make that decision at any point in time.
That's why you got these 6 and 7-year-olds that are coming up with business ideas and killing it. Like the one girl with the lemonade, I can't think of her name right now. There was another kid I read about like a month or two ago who decided like he just started a community service project and it turned into this worldwide initiative now. Like everybody's running with it. Like for most part, they know what they want to do or what's driving them. And who am I to push them in this corner in this box and keep them there when their minds can see much more than I can? Go, I got you. I'm gonna support you. I still may question, but that's for me. That's not for me to put up roadblocks for you, right? My question is your safety and protect you as much as I can. But that's it. That's something I need to get over with, not to put a hindrance for you.
Well said, bro.
So to kind of put a bow on this thing and, wrap it up real nice, what are some of the things that we can do, or what are some of the things that you all do when it comes to like bridging that gap and making sure that, you're supportive of the younger generation, but allowing that younger generation to kind of know to push forward or help that older generation kind of push forward?
I don't think this is the proper audience to ask that question. I don't have that gap. So there's nothing I need to do because I don't acknowledge it the same way I don't acknowledge issues with females in the workplace, depending on the environment. No, that's another employee.
So
if you make it a
essentially,
difference, then it is a difference.
So essentially, you know what I'm saying, not necessarily saying that you got your blinders on, but that's your approach. You know what I'm saying? You don't acknowledge those types of things. You make sure that it's an even playing field across the board.
Listen, if I interview you and you get the job, I interviewed you for your ability to do the job just like anybody else that I think is qualified to do the job. I speak to you as a human being just as I would talk to anybody else that's a human being, whether you're older than me, younger than me. I talk to my 3-year-old like he's a grown man. And people say all the time, man, you talk to him like he's a grown. Well,
yeah.
Listen, he's going to learn. He's going to evolve. And my thing is, look, if I say something to somebody of a younger generation or of a different gender that is not appropriate, hopefully we have enough open dialogue where we can talk and deal with that. And I think when you don't operate within those silos or put up those differences, then that's what leaves things open and we can have a regular conversation as opposed to it becoming a fiasco or ordeal, or, you know, we got to go to IG and Facebook and post, you know, some type of social media war.
I think one of the biggest things too is just, again, I can't identify with some of them, but even just to put it in perspective of me and my kids, what I had to do is get to I'm listening more of their reasoning, because sometimes their desires and their wants doesn't make sense to me, but that doesn't make it wrong, right? And my oldest son, Mason, he's the prime example. I know he's thinking about stuff, and I used to catch myself of like, no, that's not what I said. That's not what I asked you to do. He just don't. For him, you have to validate the why. He'll do it out of compliance, but I don't want to operate out of compliance. That's how we get a lot of broken individuals who just know how to do a checklist to get by. And that's not what I want for my kids. So I had to tell myself, like, look, stop for a minute. Even though you may be frustrated with it not getting done, listen to the reasoning and then have a dialogue. Just like Carol said. Like I said the same thing. You talk to Asher like he's an adult. I agree with that. I talked to Mason like that since the day he was born. Like, don't come around here without that baby talk and all that stuff. Talk to the boy because he's a young man, right? And that's the way you treat him all this time. That baby talk with kids, and especially when they start talking back, like, don't do that. Talk to them. And Asher understands. I guarantee he understands everything you say to him, and he understands the inflection in your voice when you're playing, when you're serious, when it's time to go back and forth. And he adjusts because he knows that. That's going to make him better prepared to deal with anybody he comes across in life as he gets older. Like the way he deals with adults and older people is going to be different than his peers. I guarantee you that, just by the way he's interacting with you guys now. And that's what I love to see. And you can tell those kids to do the same way when they come in. And you can also tell the kids who are too much into they don't talk to them like they're adults, but they're in the adult business, right? There's a difference. Talk to you like an adult, but being involved in the business of being an adult. Got to find that fine line and walk it with kids.
Archie, you got anything you want to add? I'm just messing around, man.
No. I definitely agree with Kay. I think I talked to Namdi and Renze like they're adults. It's kind of funny. My mom will go, "Why are you talking like that?" Because they didn't understand. Like this is the way you speak to them. Like they have reasoning behind it. They understand the consequence or the reward for what they're doing, and they get it. And then I walk away, and they're like, "Oh wow, he actually understood what you're saying." I'm like, "Yeah, this isn't an overnight thing. This has been practiced for some time." So my apologies for the quick vacancy and return. Speaking of Renze, he decided to wake up and fearful wanting to get out of his crib. I've never seen him jump that high, but I got there in time as he was jumping out of the crib into my hand. So it was kind of interesting.
The cameras?
I do have a camera, but it's dark, but it might work. I'm going to check and see. But he was, Never seen them climb that fast, that high. Like actually get out of it. Nami never did that. So it's just this way. 2 different kids, right? 2 different personalities.
That's how it happens. But I think it's just like you say, and people, mistake you speaking to children as if they are adults, as if you're not going to allow a child to be a child. And that's like the wrong way to look at it. And that's why you can see the difference in the way that you'll be able to deal with your child versus the way their mom will, or the grandma who's willing to bend and break and go with but look at the cute little. It's like, no, if you talk to them, of course they understood when I told him, don't jump on the couch anymore because it's going to be a problem. And he stopped jumping on the couch. He understood, like he doesn't want to deal with that situation because he knows what the situation is. And it's a constant battle, right? To be able to express that to them and still have that conversation of like, I want them to be able to be good members of society. And that's what it always goes back to with me is like, if you're going to speak and treat somebody different, regardless if it's your child or another person, it's like you're ruining that piece that's being implemented into society by being biased. Like allow them to be themselves, but still treat them in that same level of respect.
Mic drop. There it is. Before we get ready to get up out of here, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you, you can get this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud, the videos on Vimeo and YouTube each and every week. We back at it consistently every week. So make sure you're following us at 13th Floor, please, on all those podcast platforms and social media platforms and such. So every time we come back, Fresh, you got a brand new skit. So I don't know if you put any thoughts or ideas into that thing this time around, but
oh man,
what we got for Fresh Ovation this week, sir?
I've been off on my exactly on my pilgrimage of Fresh Ovation in life. I've spent almost a total year adding the addition of daily affirmations to my life and to my Instagram public. And, it's very impactful. I didn't understand how valuable it would wind up being as I continued the process. But having as many people as I have had hit me up, especially like offline and in my DMs and all that good stuff, just telling me how much it's impacted them and like how it's helped them out during the day. So I'll go ahead and share today's daily affirmation to go ahead and hopefully, help somebody else out there. Today, I am full of energy. I'm doing my best every day. I spread positive energy and encourage those that need it. I love helping people. I'm proud of who I'm becoming. My actions make a difference. Wonderful things are happening everywhere I turn. Let that message hit you today, resonate, and be a positive influence as you impact what will be your weekend, because it's dropping on Friday, so I know you're going to listen. Enjoy.
There it is. We might have to start the podcast with that, man. I'm loving that energy right there.
We'll do it.
Easy. Faison. It's your corner, baby.
Man, listen, today.
Wait. What you mean, man? Listen. You knew what was happening.
I know. Yeah, no. Actually, I was hoping this week would be no. Let him slide by. But listening to last week's podcast, trying to figure out, Kay brought up the whole headache thing, and I was really took it to heart and was thinking about it and was like, gotta figure out what's making me have headaches. Because I've been having headaches since I was probably 12, 13. So, and it kind of goes up and down. There's good weeks, there's bad weeks. Last week was crazy. I woke up every morning with a headache every day. And by 10 o'clock, it was gone. But it was consistent. I woke up, had the headache, I had to take some medicine, ibuprofen, whatever it may be, and then went away. And I don't know what it was. It screens what I know I'm doing the right thing, I believe. It could be stress from the new house that was purchased. It could be thinking about that, getting all the stuff done. I don't know. But life seems fine. life seems well. So I think I'm going to just take some time and daily log the food I'm eating to see if that is the case. So when there is a problem, in I guess internally for yourself, take a step back and just log what the problem may be. You got to start from scratch to figure out what it is. And today's corner is just take a step back and look and see. Look at it, track it, see where it is, and then do something different every day. And you'll find out what that thing is that's causing it. So hopefully by next week, I'll know where it is. If not, I'll be going to a podiatrist. Okay.
Feet.
Podiatrist for your foot?
Podiatrist for your feet.
Okay, cool. It's not a problem then. That's
What's
fine.
the
You have a lot
gut?
of
Yeah,
foot, so-
I'm about to say you need the
Maybe.
Have you done the gut test? You know what I'm talking
Gut
about?
biome.
Yeah, there you go.
Say again?
Gut
Gout
biome
test?
test.
No, I've not done a gut biotest. So that's the next step. But hopefully it'll all be well. I've got to keep my positive energy out there. But today it is tough. The lights are low. The hat is low. I am struggling, but I'm here.
I definitely would suggest you do a gut biome, bro. For you to have some type of issue like that, and you're not you're an overall generally healthy dude, that I would definitely suggest you go for the gut bio test, because there has to be some type of trigger. And just like I was mentioning earlier with Kay, finding out, how long in your life did you suffer not knowing that tomatoes were the biggest issue in your life?
Forever.
That it's something that is
Gut
everywhere. You know what I
biome.
mean?
Okay.
Like to really think about. Oh, you're not familiar with the gut bio, sir?
Man, I didn't know what you heard me keep saying gout only because he said podiatrist. And I'm like, what?
I thought you were just co-signing everything the whole time.
I'm lost. Please reel me back in. Please.
So it's literally a test where they can check out how your stomach and everything acid. Go ahead, Carol.
They check.
Chris,
to
you
see-
listening?
They check to see what bacteria you have in your stomach, right? And if you don't have the right bacteria, certain foods that you have, basically the bacteria will get upset.
Mm-hmm.
And the bacteria is actually what causes you to have different reactions. It could be all types of stuff, man. It could be cold symptoms, flu symptoms. It could be headaches, it
Rashes,
could be
everything.
blood pressure, rashes,
Everything.
eczema, all types of stuff.
It could be why you're fat. Like it could literally be that you're healthy, but
Could be.
you find out that, again, tomatoes might be a trigger that you had that you didn't realize, but you're eating tomatoes because they're healthy vegetables to you, and that's actually what's been doing something to your stomach that doesn't allow you to lose the weight properly. Like it's stuff like that you'll find out.
Yeah, and then like things like bloating and inflammation, all of that stuff can be affected by your gut biome. So you test it, it basically comes back, it tells you what foods will irritate your gut biome, and so forth and so on. And then there's things that you can do to heal your gut and to get the right bacteria in there. But basically, we don't realize that we are a colony for other living organisms that are in our gut. And depending on what you do, you irritate them, or you make them happy, or you have the bad ones and you need good ones to come in there and get rid of the bad ones. So it's a very complex science that is gaining a lot of popularity now.
That actually
And
might
just for the record, probably about 6 months ago, I dropped a link for all of you that it was on sale for $99. And
actually
everybody
gonna
just
make me
kind of looked
remember.
at me like I was crazy. And I was like, all right, cool. Now it's on sale for $129.
I remember.
I can't just go to my doctor and tell him I want a gut biome.
Nah, it's a specialty.
You might be able to. They'll refer you to somebody though that you
Right.
got to pay for anyway. All it's going to do is that the results are going to come back to your doctor, and your doctor tells you when you could just go directly, and the results come back to you.
Do me a favor, Carol. Drop that link one more time, man. Appreciate you.
All right, I'll drop it for you.
All right. So, Coach K, we on you now, man. We got to get up out of here.
Art, one other thing. I don't know when's the last time you checked your blood pressure, but you may want to check that and see if when you have your headache, if your blood pressure is higher than it normally is.
Ah,
But wouldn't the headache cause the blood pressure to go
Just
high?
above the high blood pressure.
It could go
Those-
either way.
Because I was getting headaches like that too, and I thought it was my blood pressure also. But then I realized that I wasn't
Yeah,
eating.
you're in pain, so that causes your blood pressure to go higher. But if your blood pressure is going high for some other reason, that can then cause you to have a headache.
Yeah. So it's another complex
Chicken or the
science
egg?
thing. But Yeah, try it out, man. We want to make sure you firing on all
I'm
cylinders.
about to say it definitely is probably something at least worth also noting. You know what I mean? Just like you're
Right.
taking notes on the food. If you just take a note of in the morning and in the afternoon and at night what your blood pressure is, just to kind of start tracking it as well, just to be able to understand.
There it is. Coach K, go on, take us home, baby.
Wow. So we started out talking about patience. And then that led us to generations or people or whatever, just people that think that they are in a position to tell you what and how you should do something. And really what I would say is, look, communication and respect are the only prerequisites to the pursuit of your intention. I'll say it again. Communication and respect are the only prerequisites to the pursuit of your intention. So basically, I don't care if you're a millennial. I don't care if you're generation we about to check out, generation Z, Y, whatever letter you want to give it. Look, make your intention known. Communicate. Be respectful and open up the lines of communication. Open up the bridge that will allow open conversation, because I think a lot of things happen in just misunderstandings or miseducation. And if we can clear those things up, I think together as a whole, we will continue to evolve and we will be a much better place for everyone to follow.
It is.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for listening here with us on the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are.
The 13th floor.
And we give proven health advice too.
Facts, yo.
The 13th
Don't take that to the
floor.
bank.
124, baby.